Let's talk about offset function and how can we use this in Microsoft Excel. For example, I have here a data transaction from January 1, 2014 up to December 1, 2014. And together with that data, we have here the actual sales for the month. Now, my objective is to get total sum, count, average, max, and mean on a specific number of months forward, and another set, sum, count, average, max, and mean with a specific output based on the backward transaction. Now, how do we use offset? Let's say, for example, I need to get the sales for the first 8 months of this table. All right, I need to get the first 8 months. So that's why I have 8 over here. Now, if I need that, let me type here equal sum, open parenthesis, offset, open parenthesis. Offset contains 5 syntax: reference, rows, columns, height, and width. Reference means the starting point of your table, in this case, that is cell B2, comma, for the rows, this is the number of rows involved in the transaction. In this case, let me type number 1, comma, column means the position based on the column. So, um, if you type number 1, that's 1 from the right. If you type -1, that's 1 on the left. So what we need is 0 to stick with the original column, column B. On the part of the row, however, when you type +1, it will move down. -1, if the cursor will move up. Alright, I use +1 here because I want to point out 747 as my starting point of value. Now, comma, what do we mean by the height? Height means the number of rows involved in this formula. If you need 8 months of data, you can refer to the cell that contains 8 months, and that is E4. And lastly, how many column is involved in the formula? We have 1 column involved. So let's close the formula offset and let's close the formula summation. Press enter. As you can see, this value of 5896 is the total value when you add up the values from January 1 to August 1. You can refer to the status bar down below. We're talking about 5,896 as the summation. Now, moving on, I need the total count of transaction. That's equal count, open parenthesis, offset, open parenthesis, reference is always B2, comma, what is the position per row? I need to start with 747, so I will type +1 from the point of origin B2, comma, 0 for column, we will not move from left to right column, we'll stick with column B. For the height, what we need is still cell E4, comma, for the width, we need number 1. Alright, this will define equal count value for offset. So we have a transaction. Let me remove decimal for this because we're just talking about count values. Equal average, offset, open parenthesis, B2, comma, rows number 1, 0 for columns, height is E4, and last width number 1. It is a repeated step. We're just using a different operators in this table. From summation, count, and now we have average. So we have 737 as the average. I need to define the highest value from that exists from January 1 to August 1. That is equal max, open parenthesis, offset, open parenthesis, reference of B2, rows of 1, 0 for columns, Height, we need this E4 and 1 for the column. So the highest value exists from the date of January 1 to August 1, 2014 is the value of 856. We can remove the decimal here. Last, I need the mean function, that's equal mean, open parenthesis, number, that is offset. We have B2 again. Next, 1 for the rows, 0 for the columns. Height, we have 8 rows. And last, 1 for the width. Okay, and let's remove the zeros. So the smallest amount exists from from January 1 to August 1 is 506. The output of offset is based on cell E4. If I move this, let's say, to number 3, it will define the output from January 1 to March 1 only. So the number of rows involved from the starting point is 3. So we're talking about summation of 2,334 up to the minimum value of 732. In this case, we're looking forward with our data. Alright, so from January 1 onwards. How about if I need a reverse condition for that? Let's say the scenario is I want to start at the last month in my table. So how much is the total sales from December 1 backwards to October 1? Let me use the next table, but this time using a negative symbol for the input. Now, here's the offset function, equal sum, offset, open parenthesis. For the reference, we'll still use V2. But this time for the rows, the starting point is not number 1. The starting point is row number 12. You need 12 rows down below to start with the December date on this table, comma. For the column, let's stick with 0. Next, for the height, that is the value of H4. And for the width, we need number 1. So the sum of offset will start from December backwards to October. Now, this result of 2077 is the result when you highlighted the data from D12 to D14. According to the status bar, that's 2077. Now, let's continue for the formula. The formula is equal to count, offset, open parenthesis. The reference is B2, comma, 12, column 0. Height is -3. And last, for the width, number 1. Let's remove the decimal point. Okay, I need the average, equal average, offset. Reference is cell B2, 12, 0. Height is cell H4, width 4, the last number. For the max, equal max, open parenthesis, offset, open parenthesis, reference B2, next 12, next 0, next, this is H4, and 1 for the width. Last, let me remove the decimal here. Last, I need to define the minimum value, that's equal mean, open parenthesis, offset, open parenthesis, for the reference, that's B2, comma, rows, we need the value of 12, next, column 0, next for the height, H4, and last, number 1 for the width. Okay, now, as you can see, let me remove the decimal. Um, the movement of the reference on this table is backwards. So from December, let's say I need to go back from December to July. How much is my previous 6 months? If today is January 1, 2015. So you can type here -6 and it will define the um, previous 6 months output for this table. All right, total sales, count, average, max, mean, or the previous 6 months of sales. All right, now for the formula, let me show you the entire formula by going back to Formulas tab and Show Formulas. Let me just move this so that you can see the entire formula for this example. All right, the date format is converted into text. No worries. All right, the most important thing here is the formula. You can look at the formula. All right, and this is what we have for the formula. And that is how we use offset function in Microsoft Excel.